boards, and a steal. Always involved in every facet of the game. We love that about him. He also had 9 turnovers, shot 0 for 5 from 3. One reason why the shorthanded T-Wolves were able to hang around in that game for so long. He was asked about those struggles afterwards. Listen.
My game is not predicated on shots or if I turn the ball over. Like, I miss some shots, that's part of the game. I'm allowed to miss shots. I can do that, like any other player, I can do that. I can turn the ball over too. I can do that. That's all a part of the game. But when you watch a basketball game and figure out what impact making the right plays, boxing out, rebounding, whatever that may be, making the right play, making the right reads, that's all about being a basketball player.
JJ Redick is back now live with us on SportsCenter. And here's the thing. Russell Westbrook, we know how great he is. We also know how defensive he can be when asked certain questions, and especially after a 9-turnover game. Overall, how much responsibility do you put on Westbrook for the Lakers' inconsistent play throughout the season?
Look, it's actually a little unfortunate to me that he's become sort of the scapegoat for the Lakers' struggles. In a team sport, everyone bears some responsibility when things go south. But the reality is, this is who the Lakers traded for. This is Russell Westbrook. If you look at his numbers, he's at his career average in three-point percentage this year. He's slightly above his career average in two-point percentage this year. Everyone's talking about the turnovers. He's averaged over 4 turnovers a game since 2014, 2015. I think a bigger issue is just the general roster construction and the fact that LeBron has missed over 30% of their season so far.
And because he's playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, which is a little bit different than any other team for which he's played throughout his career, for sure. So you take the tough part with him, but also the fact, he's still the only player in history to average a triple-double in 4 different seasons. I like that you said that. We know what we were getting, right?
You take the good. All teams have done this. You take the good with the bad with Russ, and you accept that, and that's who he is.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good. They just traded Rajon Rondo, said goodbye to him. Coach Frank Vogel says it gives them flexibility with the roster. That was the reason why Pelinka and company decided to do it. What kind of player, JJ, do you think the Lakers need that is going to help them make a significant improvement as the season goes on?
Look, these players aren't just lying around waiting to be called. They're going to have to make a trade, and I think it's got to be a 3-and-D wing. And along with that, they've had some success lately playing LeBron at the 5. I would play LeBron and AD when he's healthy, exclusively at the 5. That would open things up for Russ. This is what Houston did the year that Russ played in Houston, and they had a lot of success with this. They went small. They put 5 perimeters on the court. LeBron and AD can both guard and play the 5. And look, PJ Tucker, Jay Crowder, someone in that mold, whether that's Robert Covington, who might be available at some point from Portland, or Eric Gordon, who might be available at some point from Houston. Those are the type of players I would look to, and then I would sort of move and shift LeBron and AD to the 5 exclusively.
It is such a fascinating conversation, though, because you can have some of the all-time greats in LeBron and Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony, and it's still, it's not working right now. So this is a conversation that is going to continue, it seems. All of Ja's have come in his 89 games since the start of last season. That means he's got more in a little over a season's worth of games than anybody else does in their entire Grizzlies career. That's how quickly he has taken over in Memphis. Meantime, Kyrie, he could be making his season debut tomorrow in Indy. As you may recall, Kyrie decided not to get the COVID vaccine, making him ineligible to play home games in New York because of the city's vaccine mandate. The Nets initially decided not to allow him to play road games, but that was before the team's COVID outbreak that depleted their roster. Now they've certainly rethought things, and it could come tomorrow. His season debut. Let's say hello again to NBA analyst JJ Redick, and it looks like Kyrie, JJ, is about to make that debut. So from his perspective and the perspective of the team, what challenges do you foresee in his return?
Well, look, from a player's perspective, continuity matters, rhythm matters. You want to be out there as much as possible. Kyrie is a generational talent. I'm just excited to watch him play basketball. So I think that's the challenge for him, is just getting into a rhythm, not being able to play in every game. From a team perspective, I don't think this is any different than what every NBA team is dealing with right now in having different lineups night to night because of COVID. So the continuity thing, while it's a challenge for the Nets, it's no different than the other 29 teams. The bigger issue at hand here is if we get to April and May and June, and the Nets are top 2 or 3 seed in the East, What happens if the policies are still in place in New York City and he's missing the first 2 games of every series?
That's the thing, and that's when the consistency is going to definitely play a role. Right now, of course, sitting second in the East behind the Bulls. Speaking of returns and consistency, Klay Thompson, on the verge of playing again for the first time since the 2019 NBA Finals. He has been working so hard, but it's obviously going to take some time for him to get that game rhythm back, right? So as a shooter, JJ, you know, what is that like to try to reestablish?
Well, you know, when I was playing, my off seasons were usually 4 or 5 months, and I would shoot every day. But in game live action, it's a different ball game, and it usually would take me 2 or 3 weeks to really get into a rhythm. The difference with Klay, he's 6'7". He's got the quickest release in basketball. I don't expect his learning curve on this to be very long, and I hope he's shooting great right away.
And we all know how hungry he is. It's been fun to watch him as he documents his return as well, especially lately. Their supporting cast, though, around Stephen Curry has changed a lot since Klay last played 2.5 years ago. What version of Klay Thompson does Golden State need to get back to where they were a couple of years ago and be there at the finals?
Well, look, I think they're the favorites right now. I think any version of Klay is going to be a positive for this team. If we get, I don't know, 70%, 80% of peak Klay, certainly the favorites.
Yeah.
My big question is, can Klay return? I know he's going to be able to shoot the basketball. Can he return to being the elite two-way player that he was prior to this injury?
So the one thing you're looking for from him on Sunday, assuming that happens, will be what?
How he guards the basketball. He was so good on the ball. He took the challenge. He would guard Damian Lillard in the playoffs. He would guard James Harden in the playoffs. He took the challenge on the ball over and over again and would oftentimes, and most of the times, guard the other team's primary playmaker. And so that's what I'm looking for. As we get further along into the season, can he play 30, 35 minutes a night and do that night in and night out?
To come back from back-to-back serious injuries after 2.5 years is going to be a sight worth seeing for sure on Sunday. Fingers crossed that happens as the reunion between Steph, Dre, and Klay looks like it's taken place. Thank you, JJ.
Thank you.
The NBA season that is going to fluctuate throughout the season because guys are playing at a high level. But Charlie and JJ, let me take y'all on a trip to the dark side. I'm staying on the dark side. Where a guy they have a nickname for a guy that's called G12. You know who G12 is? That's Ja Morant. And the G stands for gangster. Okay? And we know that the gangsters are lurking down there in Memphis right now. And see, here's the thing. Ja Morant, what he's doing right now, he is the MVP of late, in my opinion. No disrespect to DeMar DeRozan. He's been balling. But Ja Morant, any guy that he faces, superstar talent, he has been walking off the floor as the best player. LeBron James comes into Memphis, put up 37 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists or something to that nature. Ja Morant hands him a 41-piece wing dinner with 10 biscuits on the side. Okay, he goes on the road in Phoenix, beats them on their home court with a game-winning layup, Kyrie Irving style. The Memphis Grizzlies are the only team led by Ja Morant to beat the top 3 teams in the Western Conference on their home court. So when I look at what Ja Morant is doing, his leadership, his swagger, Jay, you a big social media guy. He's that guy that goes on social media and talk that big talk and back it up the next game. He's one of the most unguardable guys in the league today. He's a generational talent. And if I had to pick an MVP today, next Monday may change, but today, right now, it's Ja Morant. G12.
Perk, you know that I love Ja. I find him to be one of the most entertaining players in the league. He'll make his first All-Star game this year.
Oh, get it out.
No, hold on.
Get it out.
Legit chance to make all NBA. He's going to win most improved player. He's not in the top 5 of the MVP race right now. Let me tell you why, real quick. Let me just tell you why. When he plays, you just said